Hey everybody, we are in Unit 5. This is Lesson 3. Now the title is Circumcenter and Incenter. I'm a wee bit curious why there is a brief little tutorial on Pythagorean theorem, but it's here. And so I got to looking. It's also plays a big part in Unit 7, and so they reteach it, So, you know what? I don't know. I'm just going to go with it, and this may end up being 3 different parts. And if so, look down in the description and I'll link those in. With that said, here it goes. All right, parts of a right triangle. Sides A and B are called the legs. And C, which is the slanted longest side, that's called the hypotenuse. All right. The Pythagorean theorem is used to find the missing side length on a right triangle. All right, and here's the formula. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. All right. So it says on number 1, find the missing side of each triangle round to the nearest tenth. The tenth is one number after the decimal. All right, so the first thing that I always teach my student is to identify which one is the hypotenuse, because that is always going to be the C value. And so what I do is I will turn this little box right here into an arrow, because it always points to the hypotenuse. So it doesn't matter which one is the A and the B, the 8 and the 7. What matters is the C. The C is the hypotenuse. That's always going to be the long slanted side, and it is the side opposite the right angle. So I don't care which one you make your A. I don't care which one you make your B. Does not matter one bit. It's the C that matters. So I put 8 for my A, and I put 7 for my B. And I'm going to come over here, and if you watched any of my videos or if you've been in my room, you know I am all about a shortcut. And hang on a second, my calculator has died. That's just great. Here we go. 8 squared plus 7 squared. And so I'll let my calculator do that, and I've got a 113. And the opposite of squaring is to square root. So I'm going to square root that 113. And again, they want it to the nearest tenth, which is one number after the decimal. So I'm going to square root the 113. And it looks like it's going to be 10 point to the nearest tenth is a 6. Now, if you are someone who has issues with rounding, it's always the number after that tells you what to do. So if they want to the 10th, then I have to look at the 100th to let myself know what the 10th is going to end up being. So if the number after the 6 here is a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, the 6 stays the same. If the number after the 6 is a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then it's going to round to a 7. So after the 6 is a 3, which means it's going to stay 10.6. Okay, this is the length of the hypotenuse. All right, number 2. Again, I have, starting out, my students draw an arrow. It points to the hypotenuse, and that means X is going to be my hypotenuse. Again, it doesn't really matter which one is your A and your B at all, because the calculator doesn't really care. I'm going to put 15 as my A and 18 as my B. So now I've got 15 squared plus 18 squared. Looks like it's 549. And don't forget, the opposite of squaring is to square root. So I'm going to square root the 549. Now I want you to notice that this time, instead of typing in 549 underneath the square root, I just went to my A and S button just to save time. Okay, so once more, the number after the 4 is a 3, which means it's going to stay a 4. So I've got 23.4. And again, that's your hypotenuse. Number 3. Okay, gonna draw my little arrow. It points to the hypotenuse. All right, this one's gonna be different than number 1 and number 2. Now, the C is a number. Again, I don't care which one's your A and your B, but it's the C that matters. So you can either put x squared plus 6 squared, or you can put 6 squared plus x squared. Doesn't really matter, but the C is the 13. X squared plus 6 squared is 13 squared. Now, this problem is no longer an addition problem. In problem number 1, it was an addition problem. In problem number 2, it was an addition problem, because in both of these problems, I was finding the hypotenuse. But now that I have the hypotenuse, this is now a subtraction problem. So I have to subtract 6 squared to the other side of the equal sign. I'm going to let my calculator do this. I'm going to put in 13 squared minus 6 squared. 13 squared minus 6 squared, and I get 133. And of course, the opposite of squaring is to square root the 133. So I'm going to square root the previous number, which is what A and S does. Now remember, it's the number after the 5 that tells me what to do. Well, the number after the 5 is a 3. Again, if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, it stays a 5, which it is, so it's 11.5. Now, I want you to notice I added something here. I added this weird looking symbol. If you're a brand new teacher and just kind of wrapping your mind around how to teach geometry, this is an approximation symbol. It means that this number that I have is a rounded number. So it's not actually 11.5 on the money. It's 11.5 and something. All right, number 4. All right, so I got my arrow. It's pointing to the hypotenuse. And I have my hypotenuse. I have my C is 30. Doesn't matter which one is my A and my B. So everybody, is this an addition problem or is this a subtraction problem? Well, anytime they've been given the hypotenuse, like we have been given the hypotenuse, it's a subtraction problem. So subtract 25 squared from 30 squared. 30 squared minus 25 squared is 275. And the opposite or inverse operation of squaring is the square root, 275. All right. Ooh, okay, here's my first one. I have a number behind the 5 that is 5 or larger. 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you change it. So this 8 is going to make that 5 round to a 6. So it's approximately 16.6. Approximately 16.6. Number 5. Draw my arrow. Ba-boom, ba-boom. There's my hypotenuse. And you're going to see me do this technique forward when we get to Unit 7, when we get to the trigonometry, because it allows me not only to find the hypotenuse, but I also have to find which side is which leg is your adjacent leg, which one's your opposite leg of a theta. And you'll see what I mean when I get there. All right, x squared plus 20. Oh, I messed up. Plus 12 squared equals 20 squared. All right, this is a subtraction problem because I have been given the hypotenuse. So everybody subtract 12 squared to the other side. And then don't forget to square root if you're already ahead of me. 256, and then the square root of that is 16. Last one, number 6. What do you guys think? If that's what you got, you did great. Okay, next up. Is this an addition or subtraction? If you said subtraction, very good. All right, subtract those. 49 squared minus 44 squared. Okay, then what? Square root's always that last step. Okay, don't forget to look at the number after the 5. It's a 6. So what's going to happen here? Does it stay a 5 or does it move to a 6? All right, there's number 6. So this video is already 11 minutes, so I'm going to make this part 1, and then I will move over to the next part of this lesson, and that will be part 2. So go down to the description and click on the link to go to part 2.